So, here we are at the final piece of our GPU virtualization puzzle. In this explainer, we're shifting from the what to the how. We're going to build a strategic enterprise roadmap to help you make the smartest, most efficient choices for your specific workloads. Let's jump right in. Okay, before we dive deep, we've got to cover the important legal stuff. Now, this is the final module, number 20 of our tutorial, and it's a high-level overview based on a really comprehensive report by Virtualization Options LLC. So just remember, this is for general information only. It is not, I repeat, not specific legal, financial, or technical advice. You should always talk to your own pros before you take any action. And one last thing, we're going to touch on it later, but licensing is a minefield. So please pay very close attention to the implications we talked about way back in Module 14.
All right, with that out of the way, let's kick things off with the big question. Why are we even having this conversation? What's the fundamental challenge that brings us all here today?
I mean, it's a question that probably keeps a lot of IT folks up at night, right? You've spent a fortune on these incredibly powerful GPUs. But so often, that powerful engine is just sitting there, idling. And that underutilization, it isn't just inefficient, it's a massive, massive drain on your budget. GPU virtualization is the key that unlocks all that stranded capacity, turning one expensive, underused resource into many efficient ones.
So, how do we solve this problem? Well, it turns out there are really three main paths you can take on your virtualization journey. Let's break them down. First up, we've got GPU pass-through. You can think of this as the powerhouse option. You're literally giving one and only one virtual machine exclusive direct access to the entire physical GPU. It's all about raw power and getting as close to bare metal performance as you possibly can. Next is vGPU, or virtual GPU. This one is the great balancer. The hypervisor basically acts like a traffic cop, cleverly slicing up the GPU's time and sharing it out among multiple virtual machines. It's a fantastic middle ground, balancing performance with user density. And finally, we have MIG, which stands for Multi-Instance GPU. Now, this approach is a completely different animal. It physically chops up a single GPU into multiple, fully isolated mini GPUs right there on the hardware itself. Each little instance gets its own guaranteed resources, which totally gets rid of that noisy neighbor problem.
So this table really lays it all out, doesn't it? Pass-through is your go-to for max performance, but you pay for it with low density, 1 VM per GPU. vGPU gives you that awesome high density and flexibility, but you take a bit of a performance hit. And MIG, it gives you that rock-solid, guaranteed isolation, but you're locked into fixed resource slices. The huge takeaway here, there is no single best option. There's only the best option for your specific job.
And that leads us perfectly into the most important part of this whole discussion, matching the right technology to the right task. This is where your strategy really becomes reality.
Let's start with a really big one, AI training. We're talking about developing these enormous models, and that needs sustained pedal-to-the-metal performance for hours, sometimes even weeks.
For a beast of a workload like that, the choice is pretty clear. GPU pass-through is almost always your best bet. You need that raw, unfiltered speed and direct hardware access to just crunch through all that data as fast as humanly possible.
Okay, but what about actually using those models in production? Well, AI inference is a totally different beast. Here, your priorities flip. It's all about low latency and predictable, consistent performance, especially when you're serving up multiple models at once. And this is why MIG is such a game changer. That hardware isolation means every single model gets its own protected, guaranteed slice of the GPU pie. No interference, no one else slowing you down, just predictable performance. And that's absolutely critical when you've got service-level agreements to meet.
All right, let's switch gears to a classic enterprise workload, VDI, or Virtual Desktop Infrastructure. The challenge here is pretty unique, right? You have to support this huge mix of users, from people just checking email to power users running intense design software, all on the same system. And this is where vGPU just shines. I mean, it was practically born for VDI. It gives you all the flexibility you need to create different profiles for different users, and the density to serve all of them cost-effectively from the same hardware. It's a perfect match.
Now, what about our most demanding users? The folks working with high-end CAD applications. These professionals need it all: certified drivers for absolute stability, access to every pro feature on the GPU, and of course, flawless interactive 3D performance. No compromises. For these power users, you've really got two solid choices. GPU pass-through gives them the ultimate, no-holds-barred, dedicated performance. Or a high-performance vGPU profile can also get the job done, making sure they get those critical certified drivers and a big enough chunk of the GPU to handle complex models without a stutter. And check this out. This chart just says it all, doesn't it? It shows the performance trade-offs for a demanding job like AI training. Look how close pass-through gets to bare metal. 97%? That's incredible. A MIG instance is right behind, giving you that guaranteed slice of performance. But then, you see the most significant drop with vGPU. It really drives home that your choice has a direct, measurable impact on your results.
Okay, so we've matched our technology to our tasks. We're feeling good. But hang on. Before we wrap up our roadmap, we have to talk about the hidden hurdles, the gotchas that can completely derail a project.
And the biggest, nastiest hurdle of them all is licensing. Seriously, this isn't just a checkbox, it's a maze. You've got licenses for the GPU hardware itself, then licenses for your hypervisor, then for the vGPU software, and the guest OS, and your container tools. It just keeps going. Even your individual applications might have weird terms about virtualization. The crucial, absolutely critical point here is you have to investigate every single layer before you commit to anything. Getting this wrong can be an insanely expensive mistake. Okay, let's bring it all home. Let's put this all together into a simple, actionable, 5-step plan so you can build your own successful implementation roadmap. Here's your framework. Step 1, strategic planning. You've got to align everything with what the business actually needs. 2, capacity design. Architect your infrastructure and figure out your resource pools. 3, profile definition. Define who gets what. 4, scheduling rules. Set the rules for how those resources get handed out. And 5, and this one is so important, operational monitoring. You have to continuously track what's going on so you can optimize over time. It's a living process. And really, that's what it all boils down to. The demand for GPU power isn't slowing down. You know that. It's only getting more intense. So, after walking through all of this, the real question you need to ask yourself is your infrastructure truly ready for what's coming next?